Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Gigi in the 561. I'm Pam Barker and I'm Gigi. Thanks for joining me. I hope you recently visited Travel Bistro, my other podcast. Even if you don't travel, please go there, have a listen, let me know what you think. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about women today. So, guys, don't tune out because I know some amazing men that have had strong women in their lives, and they are a result of that. And it makes me very proud. Very, very proud indeed. So, guys, you know what? You're solidly out there with us in so many ways. So thanks for that. But really, this is about women, not my family. That's for another podcast. And those are also women that need to be talked about even more. I talk about them some, but no, today I just want to talk about the fact that we have another woman running for president, and it's getting close to November 5th, the election. And historically, I have my heroes. I'm a history buff, and I'm a big proponent of women, historically speaking, that have made a difference, a real difference for us as women in 2024. Unsurprisingly, Kamala Harris is being bashed unjustly up and down the scale. Everything from misusing her name on purpose. That's a way to be disrespectful to people. Gary, my mate, his name is spelled Gerry, and his mother and father decided to say it Gary. So he has spent his whole life with that situation. I correct people more than he does. He really doesn't care. But also with our last name, Barker, Baker, Parker. Why is it so hard to see that R? Barker is a name primarily rooted in Great Britain. It's not uncommon. It's easy. There's an R in there. It's not Baker. But bashing women is the thing to do in this election, as the one when Hillary ran. Mispronouncing Kamala's name is just yet another really petty way to be disrespectful to the Vice President of the United States. Forget that she's a candidate for president in 2024. She's the Vice President and she deserves respect. How hard is that? But what I want to talk about women in my personal life that I'm not related to that have made a difference in my life. Starting with my first grade teacher. I will start there. Her name was Miss McAllister. I was 5 years old, and being away from my mother was new to me. I cried that first day. That whole first year of school, I had to adjust to the rules of being in first grade, and I did, but I continued to get double X's in talking. Yep, double, not just an X talks too much or however they worded it back then. No, double X's. Until finally, my parents cut me some slack for a while. But then finally, they said, I made good grades. They said, these other grades, you work for that. But anyone can stop talking, and that includes you. So stop talking. Stop talking in class. So I suppose I finally did. I haven't seen that first grade report card in many years. I don't know if I still have it because I am a keeper of stuff. But Miss McAllister helped me make that transition, and she seemed larger than life. She was so nice, and my favorite thing was sitting in a reading circle because reading was a love of mine, even at 5 and 6 years old. Because it's knowledge and it opens up the world for you. And I think if more people would spend time reading now, it could behoove them. She opened the world of art and understanding that not everyone is an artist. Maybe you're good, maybe you're not, but it really doesn't matter. Just give it your all. And art was really fun for me. I'm not saying I was good at it, but I remember it. I remember the smell of this of the art supplies, the crayons and the paint, and the remember when you would sharpen a pencil over in a pencil sharpener mounted somewhere on the wall, and you could smell that wood smell and the smell of the lead as your pencil began to sharpen. Now, we started out with those giant pencils because we weren't ready for the number two yet. And the giant, I think they were called Big Chief. Those notebooks, I guess. They were pads for you to learn how to write the ABCs, how to learn. Then second grade after first grade was fun, and it was just let up after. I'm not going to go through every grade, but it takes me to third grade, where my third grade teacher was what was called back then a spinster, and that's what people said about her. Her name was Miss Pearson. Third grade was a transitional time for me, and Miss Pearson introduced me to the dreaded mathematics, or arithmetic, as it was called. I hated it then. I hate it now. It hates me back. But Miss Pearson, people were afraid of her, and she wore these blouses that were buttoned up all the way, and then she would put a pin right there at the top between where the collar comes together, and she could be very intimidating, but there was something about her that I was drawn to. I don't know what at that young age in third grade, but she did help me with the beginning of the dreaded math. It never got better for me. It never did, but she helped me. Third grade was a transitional year for me. I'm going to jump all the way to seventh grade, where you go from being with the same kids all the time to being blasted into junior high, and as it was called in middle school, and you're learning how to change classes, and you're learning how to carry your books from class to class. It's a real changer. But I also had another formidable unmarried woman, Miss Snodgrass. Now, Miss Snodgrass, what she brought into my world was a love of geography, a love of the world, and finding where I was on the map, where other places were that I wanted to go someday. The mystique, the mystery, what's going on in these other worlds. Because not only did she have these giant maps on two different walls that she would pull them down with vigor, just terrifying. And she had this pointer stick, and she would point and click. You would hear it click on the map and show you where things were, and then you would learn about that particular place. Stuck with me to this day. I still, right now, have a clear visual of seventh grade geography. She was also my homeroom teacher. And she really, again, didn't scare me. I think I'm always drawn to these strong women, these scary women, because they're compelling. They're not boring, and they open your eyes. They're so fierce. You learn from them. You learn from them, like it or not. You learn from them. She would send me on errands, and I love that. Go into another building. The campus I went to was huge. And she would send me into the other building to get tea for her, or, whatever. And she made a mark in my life that I hold today. I still love maps. I still love geography. I love learning about what goes on around the world to this day. You never stop learning. You never stop learning in any way, but especially about what's going on in the world around you. And if you're closed-minded about it, then I pity you, because when you keep an open mind and you travel the world and you see how other people live and how they are, it is also enlightening and engaging and a wonderful experience. And I throw that all the way back to Miss Snodgrass. Yeah, these women in your life that change your life, and they make it different for you, and you never forget them. Many teachers are forgettable, but some are not. And this takes me to a big change in my life when we moved to a new school district in another part of town. And for the first time, I was the new kid, and it was not good. I mean, seriously, not good. That is why I will forever be an advocate for bullying. I will forever protect anyone I can from that. I believe in kindness. I believe in treating people the way you want to be treated. The golden rule, the thing I learned early on in my life by my very own parents. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And even my great-grandmother, my maternal great-grandmother, was the first one to tell me, Pammy, be careful what you say. And I was a very young little girl when she told me this. But she was very wise, because I was 9 when she passed away, and it broke my heart. She had a bun, and she was just this amazing woman with her white hair. And she wasn't that old, by the way, when I was really young. And she had white hair anyway. But she said, what goes around comes around. She didn't explain it more than that, really, that I remember overly much. But as I grew, I understood that, and I still do to this day. And karma will tap you on the head in one way or another if you forget that. I also know that very well. But in 8th grade, it was the worst year I'd ever experienced in my life. It took bullying to a whole new level, including by my science teacher. Now, science, it's not as bad as math, and some parts of it can be very interesting and whatnot, but it was a coach. He was a football coach. His name was Ferguson. And I took it silently, because that's what you do when you're bullied. Because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to you, the person that's bullied. And there were only a couple of people, girls, who befriended me that whole year. And it was the toughest school year that I ever experienced. And my history teacher, which I also loved, I will just call her Mrs. K. Because that's what I called her in my head, Mrs. K. She would do these great things in history class where you had like a spelling bee, but it was about history. And so I loved it, and I did well in her class. But finally one day I stayed after class, and I was, at that time, I was 12 when I started 8th grade, and I turned 13. So I was still, a very young girl. And I stayed after, and you don't pre-plan these kinds of things in your life as a kid. They're spontaneous. And she said, what, it was time really for her to go on a break. It was time for us to go as a class on a break. That's why I stayed after. I didn't have another class I had to get to. And I burst into tears. And she was counsel to my tears. And I poured out my words to her. And I will never know for sure what happened. I will never know what happened with her. But right after that, the science teacher had us write a paper on our favorite teacher. Now, this guy today would be fired. He would be sued because his behavior was something I'm not even going to go into, because it was that bad. To say that he was the worst bully and encouraged other bullies. And when I see someone in authority, like we're seeing right now, and for the past, since about 2015 years in the public, encouraging others to bully, it is more than I can tolerate. And if you have ever been bullied, you will understand. But this teacher I think, caused the science teacher to have us write a paper. Now, all the kids in there loved him. He was the coach. He was the, oh, they all loved Coach Ferguson. Well, guess what I did? I wrote a paper about her. And it was the funniest thing. After that, he he was he was better. He was still loathed by me and not trusted. And the school year was almost over. Now, by the time I got to the summer went away and I dreaded going into high school. High school was ninth grade. I dreaded it with all my heart. But I had a great summer. It was great because my home life was great during all of this. And I really didn't even tell my mother for a long, long time about my situation. And I suspect that when I did tell my mom, she probably also went to the school without telling me because, oh, your mother goes to school to protect you. Oh, But I suspect that. But so the rest of high school, fun, good, everything great. Well, and that brings me to way fast forward to a career change I made in 1997. When you work for a boss, and I was in a company, a media company, and I had two bullies. One was a woman and one was a man. Different. I went from working for the woman to working for the man, directly across, and both of them were horrible bullies. Horrible bullies. You never knew what you were going to get, and there were actions I could have, should have taken, and I didn't. But after one particularly painful bullying session by the man boss, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. And that leads me to the woman who changed my life in my career and who to this day is a very, very good friend. I will just call her NB. I'm not going to put her out there. But in 1997, I met her at a Chili's in Arlington, Texas. And this woman set into motion, just like dominoes falling, a series of events and changes in my life, in our life, my partner and I together, that changed our world. Women supporting women, women being there for women, and men being there, and us being together as a decent world, men and women together, supporting, being the kindness that we all deserve, the golden rule that you learn in the from the golden books when you're a kid, how to not be selfish, how to be generous with others, how to play well with others. Play well with others. And if you don't like what's going on, change it. But at the very least, be kind to people. Don't take it out on people, what's going on in your personal life. It's not fair. They don't know. They're just trying to get by the best way they can. You never know the battles people are fighting on their own. You just don't. But when we're decent people together and we have a platform, a national platform like we have right now between a man and a woman candidate, I'm going to bring it right back in closing to that. When there's joy or there's hate, there's support for the United States of America and there's division. Let's be part of the group that supports each other. Because it matters. It matters to young girls coming up. It matters to the world. It matters to our everyday life. So to those women in my life that made a difference, I will never forget them. I don't see them. I don't know what's happened to them. Now, NB, still a close friend, still very much in my life. But those teachers, that's long ago. Educators who care, when they see the kids who care, it makes a difference. So let's make a difference. Let's make the world a better place. Let's try. Let's do our part. And let's stand up for what's right, even if we're standing alone. Thank you very much for being with me today. I hope you will Visit our website, northpalmbeachlife.com, our YouTube channel by the same name. Gary, my mate, writes for Splash Magazine Worldwide and All Things Cruise, Gerry, but pronounced Gary. Look him up. These podcasts always rest on northpalmbeachlife.com, as well as iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, and Amazon, and really 20 platforms. Don't forget my books are available, Pamela Barker, on Amazon. I will help you find my novels. I have 4 and a children's book. They're just fun reads, so go read them and be kind. Thanks for being with me. I'm Pam Barker. I'm Gigi in the 561. Stay with me.